Hello, friend. I'm Lily Rose, and this is Through the Ashes, a podcast about grief and the quiet ways we grow because of it, not in spite of it. I am so glad you're here. A quick note before we begin: I am not your therapist. I'm just a person who's walked through loss and found that healing doesn't look the same for everyone. If you are in acute crisis, please reach out to a professional or a trusted support line. Let's begin. Today, I want to talk about grief in a way that might feel a little bit softer. Not as a straight line, not as stages, not as something you're supposed to be done with, but as seasons. Because grief is not just sadness. It's the way your world keeps changing after loss. And just like the year, it repeats. You can be in more than one season at once. You can swing back. You can even stay at a season for longer than you expected. I'm going to walk you through each season, what it feels like in grief, how to recognize it in yourself, and how to take care of yourself there. And before we start, I just want to say, whatever season you are in right now, you are not behind. Let's start in winter. Winter in grief is the cold shock, the silence after the moment everything changed, the part where you're just trying to breathe. This is the season right after the loss, or the season that returns on an anniversary, a birthday, a holiday. It's that feeling of, I don't recognize my life anymore. Winter can look like numbness, like you are on autopilot, exhaustion, so deep you wonder if something's wrong with you. That heavy gray feeling, I don't care. I can't care. I'm just here. People in winter often say things like, I still can't believe they're not here. I feel empty. I don't want to talk to anyone. And this is not you being cold. This is your body protecting you. Winter is the nervous system hitting emergency mode. Slow everything down so we can survive. Winter is also where people around you might get uncomfortable. They want you to stay strong or keep busy. But winter is not busy season. Winter is rest season. Self-care in winter is not bubble baths and journaling. Self-care in winter is drinking water, eating something soft and simple. Answer just one text from someone safe, not everyone. Or even give yourself permission to just not be okay. In winter, you do not have to process. You just have to keep a small flame alive. If you are in winter right now, I want you to ask yourself, what is one tiny thing that can help me feel even 1% more held? A blanket, a song on repeat, a sweater that smells like them. You're allowed to have that. And after winter comes spring. Now, I want to be clear. Spring is not better. Spring is confusing. Spring is when you have one good day and you're like, wait, am I moving on? Wait, I really don't want to move on. I shouldn't be moving on. Spring feels like little cracks of sunlight coming through the grief. And sometimes that light actually hurts your eyes. In grief, spring can look like you start leaving the house again. You can tell the story of what happened without collapsing every single time. Or you make a plan for next week instead of just today. Now, this is why it's so confusing. Spring is also where anger often shows up. Because now that you are not fully numb, you can actually feel again. And some of what you feel is, this wasn't fair. Surprisingly, anger is part of spring growth. Anger says, what happened mattered. I mattered. They mattered. And that anger doesn't make you a bad person. It means your love has nowhere to go, and it's leaking out as heat. Taking care of yourself in spring means letting yourself feel joy without apologizing for it. Letting yourself feel anger without judging it. Letting yourself say the honest sentence, I miss them, and I also want to live. Here's something that is important for you to understand. Spring doesn't mean the grief is gone. It just means there's now room for other things to exist next to it. If you are in spring, finish this sentence in your head. I feel guilty when whatever you filled in that blank, I want you to know that guilt is common in grief. Staying alive is an act of love, not betrayal. Then there's summer. Summer in grief is not constant happiness. It's more like presence. It's those moments where you feel fully here again. You laugh and you don't immediately swallow it. You eat your favorite food and actually taste it. You can look at photos and smile because you remember the story, not just the ending. Summer feels like, I can carry this. I can talk about them, and it's love forward, not trauma forward. I still cry, but the crying feels like release instead of drowning. Summer is the season people around you think means you're healed. But here's the truth. Summer is not an ending. Summer is a rest stop. Summer is important because it refuels you. It lets your nervous system remember safety, connection. It lets you remember you're still a person, not just the one who lost someone. And it matters because, and I need you to hear this, we are not meant to live in permanent winter. Grief is love, and love also wants you to experience warmth. In summer, self care looks like saying yes to connection, letting people show up for you, letting joy count as honoring the person you lost, not erasing them. If you are in summer right now, I want you to think of one moment where you felt okay recently. Just okay. Not amazing, just calm. That moment is proof your body still remembers how to feel safe again. Make sure you hold on to that memory. It's going to be a lantern for later. And finally, there's fall. Fall is the season of holding both. In grief, fall is when you understand this changed me. I am not who I was before this loss, and I never will be again. And there's sadness in that, but there's also a strange kind of steadiness. Fall can feel like I carry their love with me. I know what days will be hard, and I plan for them. I can function. I'm reliable again. People at work think I'm back. But inside, fall is tender. Because in fall, the leaves change. Things you thought will last forever don't. Fall in grief is the season of anniversaries, birthdays, holidays, anything that reminds you of what is missing. This is when the ache can flare back up out of nowhere. This is also the season where other people might stop checking in because from the outside, you look fine. But fall is quietly heavy, and you often carry this heaviness in silence. Self care in fall is about ritual, buying a cake on their birthday, cooking their favorite meal, telling a story about them out loud so their name doesn't disappear from the room. Ritual matters because it gives shape to missing. It turns pain into presence. If you are in fall, ask yourself, what is one way I keep them with me? It doesn't have to be big. It could be a phrase that you still say because they used to say it. That counts. Now, here's the part nobody tells you. These seasons, they don't go in order. You can be in summer at lunch and winter by bedtime. You can live in fall for years. You can feel spring again and again 10 years later and have a winter day. And this is normal. Grief is not a staircase. Grief is weather. You don't get over it. You grow around it. You learn your seasons. And knowing your season is powerful because it helps you ask for what you actually need. If you're in winter, you don't need, let me know if you need anything. You need, I left soup at your door, no need to text back. If you're in spring, you might need someone to tell you, it's okay to laugh. If you're in summer, you might actually want company, not fixer energy, just company. If you're in fall, you might need people to remember dates with you and say their name with you. When you know your season, you can say, this is where I am. Please meet me here. Now that you know your seasons, wherever you are, soften your shoulders if you can. Take one slow breath in and let it go. Now quietly ask yourself, which season am I in right now? Don't overthink it, just notice it. And now tell yourself, it makes sense that I feel this way. Because it does. Of course it does. You're not dramatic. You are not weak. You're grieving. And grieving is just love with nowhere to land. Thank you for being here with me today. And thank you for letting yourself feel. That is not small. If this episode helped you in any way, share it with someone who's in their own season, especially someone that thinks they are not grieving the right way. There's no right way, there is your way. I would love to hear from you. Send me a message at throughtheashes@outlook.com with your first name, where you're listening from, and if I can share your story in a future episode. Next week, we'll talk about post-traumatic growth. Can grief create meaning? We rise. Maybe not fast, maybe not pretty, but we rise. I'm Lily Rose, and this is Through the Ashes. See you next week.